I don't think there is a better film from 2001 for our podcast in terms of things that we consistently bring up. This is right in our wheelhouse. This came out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
And
absolutely out of nowhere.
And lit the world up.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks? You mean Shenanigans?
Oh.
You're talking about Shenanigans, right?
Put those away!
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux of the city of Brainerd. With me, as always, is my brother.
I had fun. It's not a good movie, but I had fun watching it.
Whew, man. Really, we've got some good ones lately, but I've been going heavy on the...
It's only good if only I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Gabriel Johnson's over there.
Naz Reed.
Man, 2 weeks in a row here with us. It's starting to become a trend again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, welcome back. You say Naz Reed. My response should be Naz Reed in return. It is tradition.
Mm-hmm. Instead, you're talking to missing one episode in 2.5 years.
Should we get started?
I think somebody already did this.
Oh, yeah. Tim Talks.
I quit my job this year with no prospects.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind. 2001. Part 2. So the Be Kind Rewind, as always, is the episodes of the podcast where we take a year, look at all the stuff that happened, go back and check out the episode part 1, where we talk about pop culture news, a little 9/11 action, some TV, music. Scott talks about Sum 41 for an hour and a half. If that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. But go ahead and check that out. This is the episode, part 2, where we talk specifically about just the movies for the year 2001. So you guys ready to get started for it? Thoughts and ideas about just overall arching stuff from 2001 movies go.
Good stuff.
Yeah? Yeah?
I was entertained.
Yeah. I actually thought that this was a good selection that we had. A lot of movies from 2001. But let's go ahead and start right off at the top with the top 4 grossing films that debuted in 2001. So top 2, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter 1?
Harry Potter above.
Really?
Lord of the Rings. I want to say it was like 331 million to like 333 million.
Okay.
So very, very close.
My brother was 10, 12 years old when that was released. And every Harry Potter movie that went out, he went to the midnight showing, dressed up. Like it was a sensation back then.
Yeah. And that's a pretty good film too. We'll talk about it in just a second. But yeah, very close at the top. Third is Shrek.
Okay.
Did very, very well.
Classic.
Absolute classic. We may get time to talk about that at the end. And then if you had to guess what the 4th highest grossing film of 2001 was, what do you think it would be?
Good Lord.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, hey, there you go. I'm surprised. I should have done a this or that or a versus of Planet of the Apes versus something that actually is decent.
Yeah. I watched Planet of the Apes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah? It is not Planet of the Apes. It is Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you understand the words that are coming out from my mouth? Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
I think Rush Hour would be a fun one for us to go back and look at as a series. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to talk about that today, but I want to set that one aside. I think as a series, it would be really fun.
Has anyone seen the third one?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Callie loves those movies.
Okay. I mean, I love Rush Hour 1 and 2, but I've never seen the third one.
Is the third still Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker?
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah. And then there's Shanghai Noon, where they just swapped out Chris Tucker. And we're like, hey, yeah, it's just in Wild West now.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just going to clip out Luke or Owen Wilson for the rest of the episode. Wow. That needs to be a drop. Why haven't we ever done that?
Wow.
So top 2 grossing films, let's start there. Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings. Let's just go right to that to begin with. Thoughts on Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings?
I mean, I guess it depends on what you're in for.
Sure.
You want
magic.
You want a fun little magic story, or do you want to sit in a seat for 3 hours?
I should check the runtime of the original Lord of the Rings. Very true. A fun little magic story.
Yeah. Harry Potter
versus
walking.
So much walking.
That's all they do. The whole movie, start to finish, or they walk.
Okay, so let's get into Lord of the Rings for a second, because I love that you said that, because I was just watching some behind the scene footage, as I'm one to do, and there's a whole scene where they're walking through a swamp, and I was like, oh, I don't remember that part of the movie, and of course it's walking. It's just another scene of walking.
Yeah.
A crazy film for how it was shot, because they just took these guys, I think it was like 15 months that they had them in New Zealand, and just, here we go. We're just going to shoot
all three. Right?
Yeah, we're just going to shoot 3 films right in a row, constantly changing the scripts as well, which is also weird. But that deleted scene was interesting, because here they are just walking through this freaking swamp, and you got your big hobbits with their hobbit feet on. And the one guy's just like, it was just absolutely freaking miserable. I'm freezing to death. I'm going to lose my feet. And then you get to the end, and they don't even have it in the film.
Cut it.
Super fun little tidbit about that. The hobbits would have to get up early, because they'd have to get their hobbit feet put on. And it took like an hour to an hour and a half to get their feet put on, and they had to stand up the whole time so that they could. So they'd glue the bottom of their feet, slide their feet in, and then take the latex and match it up, and then they'd have to spray paint their feet. And Sean Astin, we know Sean Astin, obviously, Encino Man. That's the film you know him from.
Rudy.
Not the Goonies, not Rudy. Encino Man.
Yes.
But he was keeping track of the amount of days that they had to put their feet on, and then they never once shot their feet in any footage.
Sure.
And so he gets to the end, he's like, 50 days. 50 days we did this, and never shots that we never actually took a shot of our feet, but yet had to stand there at the beginning of the day for an hour and a half. Interesting film, though, Gabe, Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter is wonderful. My two boys are really into it right now, but I like Lord of the Rings more.
Sure.
I enjoy the intense walking.
That is actually awesome, because it's a great score, but it is just that. If that score starts, we're walking. We're walking. Somebody might be on a horse. Might be on a horse, but probably not.
Yeah, I tried to get my family to watch it, and all 3 voted no on Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Can we put Harry Potter on?
It is a different experience. I should look up how long it is.
It's like 3.5.
Well, the extended version, which is all you could get your hands on for a while. You couldn't actually get the theatrical release for a while. But it is crazy that, like, if you had to choose which one to watch, I think I would pick the Harry Potter. Like, if you just said we're going to watch a movie, I would probably pick the first Harry Potter movie, which I actually think is the best Harry Potter movie. I know that most people don't think that. To me, it's just a short tale that follows all the beats. Right? I like films like that. I like when you follow the beats, and it's much more digestible. The actual Lord of the Rings movie. And the first one isn't as bad. I think they get worse as they go.
Yeah.
The third one I can hardly watch. I think I've seen it once, maybe twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's tough, dude. I get halfway through and I'm just like, God, this movie is so freaking long.
Why didn't they fly the eagles to the mountains?
Yeah. And just a ghost army.
Yeah.
That wins everything.
Yep. So yeah, this does say that the first Fellowship of the Rings is 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Okay.
So, and then the extended cut is obviously longer than that. But it's too long. It's too long of a movie. But it is my favorite. It is my favorite of the Lord of the Rings films. If you had to pick one, which one would be your favorite of the Lord of the Rings films?
The first one.
First one?
Yeah.
Scott?
Sure. It's been a really long time since I've seen any of those movies. It's such an investment.
It is.
Harry Potter, what, 90 minutes?
Yeah.
You can watch that and go about your day.
Yep.
If you're going to watch The Lord of the Rings, that's what you're doing
that's
today.
your day.
That's what you're fucking doing.
Yeah, today is Lord of the Rings Day. I would agree to that. I do think that you can watch the first one and have an enjoyable experience. When you get to the end, some people said, you get to that ending and it's just kind of in the middle of nothing without really a big cliffhanger. But I think it's a good point in that film. You've kind of wrapped up what's happened in the first portion.
Yeah.
The rest of the tale is going to be tougher, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the tale is tougher. Scott, were you a part of the viewing experience that I had the first time we saw this?
I mean, we went to see them in the theaters when they came out every Christmas.
Every Christmas, yep. So our age group didn't read Lord of the Rings. Did you read it? Yeah. So we were, late 90s. This trend had kind of died down, but our uncles in high school in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, had all read the Lord of the Rings books. And so our uncles were very excited for this. And we had we had my dad's youngest brother, was kind of the hip guy with the electric guitars and the fro and just kind of a fun guy. And so when he got excited to see it, I was like, hell yeah, let's go watch this. Mm-hmm. Plus it's right up my alley. Freaking
it's fantasy.
Fantasy, swords.
Yeah, medieval fantasy.
Swords? Mm-hmm. We're now going to start making films with swords? Let's go. Let's go. So we went
just a hint of magic?
Just a hint of magic. But like fun ones. Butterflies. But yeah, we went to this on Christmas Day. Our my dad's brothers and us, and I don't remember if it was everyone, but we went as a group. Yeah, to the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Rings, and I thought it was a very enjoyable experience.
Oh, incredible theater going experience.
Yeah, that would be a good one to see in the theater.
Yeah,
where you're just stuck there for 3 hours. You have to watch this.
There's nothing else to do.
You can't just be like, "Can we go outside?"
Yeah, there's nothing else to do.
It's a great movie, absolutely great movie.
I do really enjoy it. I like it. Starts off, you go through the Shire, you go through all that stuff, introducing the characters, very lighthearted. Mm-hmm. Very quickly has to turn on a dime to where now we're getting chased by the ring wraiths. But it's good. I really enjoy the first Lord of the Rings film. I was interested to find out that in watching my behind the scenes stuff, I was telling Gabe that I love behind the scenes stuff. So I put one on, started watching. It was the boringest behind the scenes thing I've ever seen in my life. And maybe it's because I've watched too much of that stuff on Lord of the Rings.
That's in line with the movie.
A lot of walking. But speaking of walking, there's the scene in the film where they're up on the mountain, the iconic scene where the ring is down in the snow. And I think it's Boromir that picks it up. Sean Bean picks it up. And, he does this little speech about, why can't he have the ring or whatever it is. So in order to get up to this point in those mountains, they had to fly helicopters.
Oh, that's right. But was it Sean Bean is scared of helicopters?
So they fly up in these helicopters to the top of these mountains, and the hobbits are all having a hell of a time. What's his name? Frodo.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood is having a hell of a time. They're all looking out, taking pictures, having a great time up in these helicopters. Sean Bean was not having the helicopter ride to the top. So much so that Sean Bean informed them, I will not be riding in helicopters anymore. So a little while later, they had to shoot another scene that wasn't quite so high up in the mountains, but still up in the mountains. Mm-hmm. And they had to fly helicopters up.
Yeah.
And Sean Bean told them, I will not be doing that. So he would get up early, ride the chairlift up to the top of the mountain as high as it would go. And then he would get out and start walking up the mountain. And so, and so everybody else would get up later, and then they'd look down, and here's Sean Bean climbing the mountain to get to the film shoot because he refused to ride the helicopter. I thought that was awesome.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Yeah, every day that they shot up there, and for a film like this, you shoot, day after day after day, same shots. So multiple days he would get up early before everyone and climb a flipping mountain just to get up to the top because he's like, you know what, that helicopter, I'm not dealing with it anymore.
Yeah.
We shot there for 2 or 3 days, and our day would begin with everybody flying in the helicopters. And as we flew over at 7:30 in the morning, we'd look down, and there'd be this tiny black speck climbing the cliff. It was almost like a cliff face, and it was Sean Bean dressed up as Boromir, like a human fly on the wall, clambering up this mountainside all by himself to sort of get to the location because he didn't want to go there and shop ahead. Like 2 hours of climbing to do.
Well, they used to see me from the helicopter going, And I was sweating at the end. It was like a real adventure getting over that sort of mountain to get to the set. But I did, you know, I preferred doing it that way.
That's pretty great. I really enjoy those films. I think that in terms of comparing film to film, I think The Lord of the Rings is a better film.
Yeah.
However, I really like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I think it is my favorite of the Harry Potter movies.
I've probably seen that movie 60 times.
Really?
But a different version of it.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
God. There's a guy, his name's Brad Neely. And he takes the first Harry Potter movie and just turns the volume way down low and reads over it like it's a book on tape.
Oh.
And just kind of makes up his own storylines and things that are happening in it. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's called Wizard People, Dear Reader.
It's on YouTube?
Yes.
I'll have to check that out.
We've talked about way back in the day on the podcast. We had talked about it.
Probably.
Because you were big time into it for a very long time.
I still am. This has probably been the longest I've not watched it. It's been like a year and I haven't watched it. I tend to watch it a couple of times a year because it's honest to God the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Wizard People, Dear Reader.
Yeah, I really enjoy it as well. You turned me on to that, and I consumed a lot of it because you can just keep watching it.
Right.
It just goes on and on and on and on and on. I'm surprised that it's still on YouTube, actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's terrible quality.
Yes. But Gabe, your family watches it often, obviously.
Yeah, my 11-year-old is reading the books. He's into the last book right now. So we haven't watched the last 2 movies yet. So we're waiting for him to finish the books, and then we'll watch the last 2.
Okay. Similar boat, our youngest, so 6 and 4, very much into Harry Potter. The 4-year-old obsessed with Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't let him I would let him get to like the 3rd one for a while because it's like after that it starts getting a little bit for a 3-year-old.
Like even the second one's kind of spooky with that's one with the snake, right?
Yep. Yeah, and he had one of those moments where he was crying upstairs, and I was like, "What are you crying about?" And it was Harry Potter, But he was very, very interested, not in this film, but in one of the films, Harry does a spell where he actually hurts the other kid.
Oh, yeah.
And leave it to my 4-year-old where that was the spell that he's like, is this real?
Yeah, hold on. How do I do
this? Not all the fun stuff. How do I hurt?
How do I hurt you?
Yeah. But
that's going to be an interesting one.
Well, we had to buy him the full outfit. He has the full thing.
Yeah, we went over to a friend's house for some beers, and he walks in the door as Harry Potter.
He's obsessed with it. But I will say the thing that with Harry Potter, I like movies like this when they stay more towards the kid end of things. Like with that film, it starts getting too serious by the last couple, where it's like, this is just kind of silly, right?
But it's coming of age.
Oh yeah, they're growing up. When they start, they're like 10, and by the end of it, they're like damn near adults.
Yeah, but it I don't know. Like I think
stakes are a little bit higher when you're older.
Yeah, the magic stakes are a little bit higher. At the beginning, we're eating disgusting jelly beans and putting slugs in each other's mouths, and at the end, I don't know. I don't dislike.
At the end, murder.
Yeah. I don't.
In between, they fall in love.
Yeah. But the first one is a perfect example of like how I feel about superhero movies. Like, I really enjoy the superhero movie Shazam. Because it's a kid that turns into a superhero and then does what a kid would do as he's a superhero. Mm-hmm. And I find that experience enjoyable because it's like, yeah, that's what Spider-Man's the same way. It's like, yeah, it's a kid that gets superpowers. This is how you would act. Everyone would act that way. Or everyone would act like the boys or, Invincible. And just murder people, right? You kind of got the two ends of the spectrum. The middle portion is the stuff that I think is kind of, it's not quite so interesting. And that's how I feel about the Harry Potter films. Is it gets to that middle road. It's like, if we're going to murder people, murder people.
Let's start with that. Set the tone.
Yes. And move forward. But I do like it. I think that whenever we turn those films on, that's my favorite one. Mm-hmm. So, final thoughts, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Like you said, Lord of the Rings is the better movie. Mm-hmm. But I will watch Harry Potter more often.
Yes.
Samesies.
Yeah. I haven't seen Lord of the Rings in a while. I started to watch it Actually, I take that back. About 6 months ago, I did watch the first one. I got about 20 minutes into the second one because I did the back-to-back. It's like, all right, we're going outside.
Yeah, I watched the first one a few months ago with the family, and then we watch a movie every Friday. Next Friday, I'm like, hey, let's watch number 2. And they're all like, nope.
That's how I felt about the books.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I read the first one, and then I made it about 40 pages into the Two Towers. And it was like, I'm bored.
we do have to say, though, Lord of the Rings has completely reinvented an entire subsect of the population in terms of like what they consume. Because like we're into nerdy shit.
Right.
And all of the stuff we're into in terms of Final Fantasy and stuff is just straight ripped off of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So hats off in terms of that. Let's move on from that. A film that Scott watched that you had said was at one time was your favorite film.
Yes.
And that is the film Donnie Darko.
Yes.
You watched it again.
Yes.
So did I.
Yeah, yes.
I've got you there. Got you. And how was it?
It was pretty good. I can see why a 17-year-old boy like me would choose that as his favorite movie of all time.
Yes. I did one of our matchups. I did Donnie Darko versus Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my top 3 favorite films of all time.
Yes.
Just see how that would work. Not from the same year, but to see how that would work. Donnie Darko beating it out by a decent little margin.
Really?
I was surprised by that. Because Eternal Sunshine to me is almost a perfect film. It's beautiful. But Donnie Darko, I went back and watched it. I remembered not liking something about the film, but I couldn't remember what it was. There was like something that I was really pissed about in this film. And so I went back and rewatched it. And the whole time I'm like, why was I so mad about this film? And the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, this is actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
This is a very good movie.
Yeah, it's very well shot. The tone that it holds throughout the whole movie is great.
Yep.
The characters' interactions are great. I love the dad.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The dad was great. And I like that now being an adult and like looking back and like, yeah, if your kid was going nuts, I'd want to be him versus the mom. You know, just breaking down into tears because her child is fucking nuts. The dad's just like, fuck him, dude.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, be you.
Yeah. But I realized at the end why I was so mad at that film. That movie goes through its paces and it's this weird, interstellar time travel ish.
Yeah.
But it is like the film Magnolia. Do you remember the film Magnolia?
Never seen it.
So that film starts off and it's just...
Is that the one where the guy falls and gets shot?
Yeah, it's like coincidences, right? So it's things that happen that are a coincidence that are almost unbelievable, but they're all connected. And so that's Donnie Darko. As you're watching it, it puts together the pieces and then it gets to the end and it draws this line through all the pieces and everything matches up and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
And then it does the thing where it plays this fucking song. And what is the song even called?
It's called Mad World.
Yeah,
by Gary Jules.
Dude.
It's a cover of a Tears for Fears song called Mad World.
I don't hate the song.
It's a beautiful song.
It's not in my wheelhouse of like things that I fucking hate.
It's one of the few things that I can play on the piano.
Okay. You would recognize it immediately. For me, it was a situation in where maybe it's just fucked out. Maybe that song has just been played too many times. But we've went through this cool journey through this film, and then you fucking end it with Mad World. And I remember as soon as it happened, I was like, exactly why I fucking hated this. It was like the second it started playing, I was like, God damn it. That's exactly why I didn't like this movie. I was like, you ruined it. You did such a great fucking job. And then you play this fucking song, which is such a 90s thing to do. You get into this fucking swelling thing where everyone's curling up in a ball and crying. And it's like, they just did this. I watched it last year in 2000 and it was called freaking Requiem for a Dream. And they do it so much better. So much better. Everyone's curling up in a ball and crying at the end of that film. And it's beautiful. And then this one, you're like, you just did the same fucking thing, only used a shittier song.
I love that song.
Do you?
Yeah, there was a guy on American Idol or one of those music talent shows or whatever that did a rendition of that song, and it was fucking phenomenal.
Cool.
Super cool. Check it out.
So your thought on Donnie Darko still holds up?
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I mean, from the word go was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, the cinematography is great. The story is, it holds you in.
It does.
Until the end. And then you start thinking, what the hell happened?
Yeah. So
It was aliens.
well, it's not aliens, but it could be aliens. Gabe had said you had read about the story.
Yeah, I didn't have time to watch it, so I just read a little bit on Reddit today, and there's a lot of crazy theories. It seems like a really crazy movie, so I'm going to check it out.
Yeah,
all the theories that come
Yeah.
are completely outside of
Yes.
the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like if you just take the movie for what it is, you'll have some questions.
So it's not like an alternate universe that's spun off from a parallel universe where the aliens
Probably.
come in to put him through a challenge that he has to complete to
I'm
save
not
their
familiar
universe.
with anything about aliens.
So-
but I do. But the parallel universe shooting off from the universe that they are in that somehow
Yeah.
swirls back around on itself, and
If you're
it's
just
confusing.
if you're just going off of what's in the film, it is, and they do this thing where they show, and I saw the director's cut. That's the one you
Yes,
watched as well.
yeah.
So I don't remember the original film. So there's probably pieces that are added.
there are. So in the director's cut, they keep showing you like pages from the book.
Okay, so that isn't
That's
in the
not
original.
in the original
So that's
movie.
nice. I actually appreciated that, although they're too fast because I wanted to
are.
read them.
Yeah,
so I had to keep
had to
pausing
pause it all the
Yep.
time.
Yep, I had to keep pausing it because I wanted to read it.
Right.
It's like I want to know what you're actually thinking. So that I would be interested to see if like how the film ties together because those pages are really good actually, which is strange because I usually don't like director's cuts.
Yeah.
But they lay out for you. Here's the rules because he finds a book that has.
It's called The Philosophy of Time Travel, I think.
Yep. And
by Lady Death. It's just some old lady that used to be a teacher or something.
so in the movie, in slight spoiler alerts, something happens, it crashes through his house. He should be dead, and he's not dead. And it's not really Final Destination-y, but it kind of feels that way. Like, what happened? How did this happen? And then
How did you cheat your destiny?
how did you cheat your destiny? But if you read those pages and you kind of go through what the philosophy of the time travel is that this idea that there are parallel universes happening at the same time, and in him not dying is the piece that is essentially going to destroy the universe because you have broken all the pieces, and the only way to put them back is if time is correct. But it's an interesting tale where they continually keep showing little pieces along the way, and everything lines up at the end, and that's an enjoyable experience.
Right.
Yeah. So as you're watching, you're like, "What the f is this? What is this? What is this?" Jake Gyllenhaal, his sister,
Yep.
forgetting her name,
Maggie.
Gyllenhaal, both in it, play siblings, play it very well.
Right.
Was a great
It's almost
decision.
like they're really
They were natural
related.
born.
It was a great decision because she is exactly what his sister should be. And then, the mom is just breaking down because her son is losing his mind. And the dad is like, fuck it. Fuck it, dude. You already lost your mind. My life ain't going so great either. Yours, you probably have more fun. So great film. I do highly recommend it. I would say that there's something about the extended director's cut that there's a little bit of length in there that could be trimmed.
Yeah.
And that's usually the problem with them.
Yeah.
But fun. Very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie of all time.
My favorite. And God damn it, get that fucking song out of there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, Jesus. It's not. They reused it in like commercials for Xbox later on. Like that's how fucked out that song is. And it's like, get it out of your film. And if you were the first, which they probably were, but it just doesn't feel like they were first because my reaction to it was so fucking visceral.
I'm fairly confident they were the first.
They were probably
I'm
the first.
pretty sure that was made specifically for that movie.
Okay. Well, then I shouldn't react the way that I do, but I remember it was like all the pieces were falling back into place. Like I was following my own little trail from the film of getting back to that point of like, fuck this point. Fuck that song. All right. Anyways, let's move on to Super Troopers.
Yes.
Discriminating audiences at the Sundance Film Festival have discovered one of the most shocking, unflinching, eye-opening films about cops ever made.
Do we look like the two dumbest guys in the world to you?
Super Troopers. In this town, You don't mess with the law.
You know how fast you were going?
65.
63.
The law messes with you.
Isn't the speed limit 65?
Yeah, it is.
I'm freaking out, man.
I don't think there is a better film from 2001 for our podcast in terms of things that we consistently bring up. This is right in our wheelhouse. And I would say so much so that I would almost like to do it justice in doing its own episode. So we won't spend a ton of time on it, but let's talk Super Troopers real quick because this came out of nowhere. And
nowhere. And absolutely out of nowhere.
And lit the world up. Take us from the top, Gabe. What do you got on these guys?
On the Broken Lizard
yeah,
comedy troupe. So yeah, this is a group of buddies from college. They met at Colgate University in '89. And they started a sketch comedy group.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that throughout college and then toured around through the mid-90s and then decided they wanted to get into film.
Yeah.
And they made like a 30-minute film
Mm-hmm.
and it got good reviews. So they got like $1 million. They didn't get a lot, but they got some money to make Super Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And that it blew up.
Yeah. Do you remember what the first film was called?
No.
I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but I have
Does it have
seen
something
it.
to do with a boat?
No, you're thinking of Club
Dread,
which came after. I'll look it up real quick, but continue. Yeah, they kind of just came out of nowhere. It's interesting to find out that they started in 1989 because this is 2001 by the time that they just break onto the scene.
Yep.
So it's interesting how everybody always says that. It's like, they came out of nowhere. They came out of nowhere.
Nah, they busted their ass for over a decade. But it's fun because like they write all their own stuff, all their own movies, and there is no lead writer. They're all just a group that works together. It's down to 5. When they were in college, it was a bigger group, but it's down to 5 guys, and they're all just get equal credit for writing, and
crazy.
They just bounce ideas off each other.
Yep, and then Jay, I'm not even going to try.
Ramathorn.
He was the director and is the director of, I believe, all their films or most of their films. But yeah, just a great little film, and it is interesting that it is also State Troopers and coming off of Me, Myself, and Irene. I bet these guys were just pissed when that movie came out. It was like, because this is such a unique take, right? Like State Troopers.
Yeah,
making
in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Nothing to
do. Favorite line from the film?
Holy moly, that's tough.
I know, but you should be prepared for this because I do it every time.
I love the meow bit, obviously,
Meow.
but I think the one I probably use the most is he's already pulled over. He can't pull over any farther.
Pull the vehicle over.
I'm already pulled over. I'm already pulled over.
Pull over farther, man.
I can't pull over. Sir, I'm already pulled over.
He's already pulled over. He can't pull over anymore.
And I think that is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you as well, Gabe. The meow bit is probably my favorite bit. Just the idea that people are out there just fucking around. Because this is what you would do. I mean, at least what I would do.
Yeah.
If I kept pulling people over for the same over and over and over again, I would get very bored with it.
You have to make it interesting.
I would have to make it interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And the meow bit is a great bit. I just love how they're like, meow? Huh? Let's do it. That's the one you want to go with? All right, let's do it.
I could have sworn you said meow.
Do I look like a cat to you, boy? Am I jumping around all nimbly-bimbly from tree to tree?
No.
Am I drinking milk from a saucer?
No.
Well, do you see me eating mice? Now, you stop laughing right now.
I'm trying to look up and see if I have. He directed one episode of Lethal Weapon.
What? Jay?
Jay did. Yeah.
He also directed The Dukes of Hazzard.
He did direct The Dukes of Hazzard. I think that's one where they like broke through and got hey, these guys should do something more mainstream.
He appeared in The Dukes of Hazzard as Ramathorn.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I never saw the movie, so of course I don't remember that. I just know that he directed it.
I don't think you're allowed to see it now. Puddle Cruisers. That was their first one in 1996. So that's crazy too. That took a long time to go from that to Super Troopers as well. Yeah. And then, yes, their next one was Club Dread. So he directed 4 episodes of Arrested Development.
I think he did some Community too.
Let's see. Yeah, because he did Undeclared. Andy Richter Controls the Universe. I don't see Community. Psych. He's got to be on here. If Gabe thinks it's on here. There it is. Community. 9 episodes of Community.
Okay.
Yeah. Great film. If you haven't seen it, just go watch it. It's just really enjoyable. And I don't think it does. I don't think it crosses any of the 2000 lines either. The 2001.
No, it was just fun wordplay and a little bit of slapstick.
Yeah.
And it was made for DVD distribution.
Absolutely.
And that's how it blew up and became a cult classic.
That's exactly right.
That type of movie is never going to be a blockbuster hit.
No.
But it's going to have a huge following of fans.
It did the
We're
same.
a little too lazy to go to the movie theater.
Yeah. It did It did the same thing that I remember the first Austin Powers movie doing, because that movie did not do very well. And same thing with Half Baked too. I don't remember Half Baked like killing it in the theaters, but then as they came out and were available on video or DVD, just this swelling of like, you have to watch this.
Yeah, that one of those where you go to a friend's house and their older brother's like, you guys need to watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, release date.
Oh, yeah. When was it released?
It was released on April 20th, 2001.
Oh, okay.
I'm freaking out, man.
Decisions were made.
And Super Troopers 2 was on April 20th, 2018.
A fitting thing to do. However, I'm going to tell you that that's probably not the best way to make your audience show up at the theater.
No, they're off doing other things.
Sell the tickets first. Pre-order the tickets.
Yeah.
Make sure that everybody's, because as long as you made the sale, don't worry about butts in the seats. So let's move on to a second movie, a comedy that I wanted to talk about super fast because I remembered loving it. Everyone I talk to and every time I bring it up, everyone remembers loving this movie. And it's a movie that I don't know if it's just our age group that loves it, because I don't know if it necessarily works outside of those parameters, but the movie Not Another Teen Movie.
Cry me a river, dick face.
So all three of us went back and rewatched this movie, correct?
Holds up.
Bling, bling.
Absolutely holds up for us. I don't know if it holds up for everyone, because I think the thing about this movie that I find really interesting, especially with the way we're doing this, where we're just moving ahead year to year to year, we've talked about almost every single movie that is in this.
Right, it hits all the high points of the 90s teen movie tropes.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just a spoof movie on teen movies.
Right.
And it goes right down the list from your John Hughes to one of the big ones is the Cruel Intentions is one of the big,
Cruel Intentions, Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues is one of the best parts of it.
Okay, it was your fault.
Which is an interesting one. I feel Varsity Blues we're going to put on the What the Fuck Happened.
Okay.
Very successful, but I want to put that on the list of films that we should just review from start to finish, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff in there that could be made fun of.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
Never.
Oh, for sure we got to do it then, because it was one of those films that was like you got done and you were like, oh hell yeah, this is pretty cool. I was a kid that was playing football at the same time. But Not Another Teen Movie goes right through the list. Can't Hardly Wait is one of the films they make fun of. She's All That is one of the films. Bring It On is one of the films they make fun of. The thing that I found really interesting about this film in particular was that they did the casting of it, and the people that they cast are perfect for the things that they're making fun of. And looking back on it, a couple hits in there in terms of actors.
Yep.
As I was watching it, because these guys are clearly older than what they're playing.
Oh, right.
I had the thought, and I think somebody should do this. If you got that same cast together now and did Not Another Teen Movie 2 and just pretended that it was just a continuation, like nothing had happened.
They're still in high school. Yeah.
I would watch that, and I know I would enjoy that. So right off the top of the list, Scott, who was the big actors in this?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, yep.
Captain America.
Captain
himself.
America, yep, yeah. So Captain America of all the Marvel shit is the lead actor in this.
Right.
Yep.
And he plays Captain America. It's like it's the exact same facial expressions and everything. Jamie Presley.
Also very again, going back and watching these films, it's like, yeah, I never really thought Jamie Presley was like smoking hot. Jamie Presley's pretty smoking hot.
Yeah, she looks exactly like who's the girl? Margot Robbie.
A little bit, yeah.
They're identical.
Okay, I wouldn't go identical.
They're not so identical as
Yeah.
the lead singer of Sum 41 and Tom Sawyer.
boy.
I mean, at this point, I just should have made a hardcore graphic because I would have got a lot of use out of it. But some of the other actors you probably wouldn't recognize.
I don't really
much.
notice any of these other people's names. Mia Kirshner,
Yeah.
is maybe.
So you would recognize them if you saw them, right? I think is how the rest of these
Randy
would go.
Quaid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Randy
yeah,
Quaid.
of course,
for sure,
Randy Quaid.
For sure, Randy Quaid. But the thing I thought was really interesting is that they would have these actors play multiple spoofs. So like the character would be this character from one film, but he's also this character for one film, another film, and they matched up really well for both. I was like blown away by this. Like, how did you find people that look like multiple people from different films? Because you knew that they were going to play both roles in your spoof arc.
Such as?
I thought the guy that so the nerdy guy that is supposed to be playing the compassionate one from American
in
Pie.
Love with the girl with the ponytail and glasses. Yeah.
I was spot the fuck on, and I loved it because having just watched that movie, I was like, God, what a great interpretation of that fucking role. Like, you're just a fucking douche. I loved that they got the football player from Varsity Blues. Is it actually the same guy?
Well, I don't know.
I think it is. Look, click on it and see.
The
it.
offensive lineman?
I think it's the same guy. If
The
it's
big
not,
fat guy?
Yeah, if it's not the same guy, I would be amazed. Because I that was one of the things I was like, it's got to be the same dude, right?
Yep,
That's the
Varsity
same.
Blues.
Yeah, so they got him to play a spoof of his role from another film. That's ingenious. Or even just bringing in the principal from The Breakfast Club,
Right.
and having him reprise his role for just a spoof of that scene.
Shut your pie hole, Wang Chung.
Take on it though. I thought there was a couple moments that were a bit outlandish, over the top, that would probably just you could snip out now. The toilet scene, which is like at the time played very well.
Right. That was
yeah.
They were everywhere.
Yep.
Back then. Dumb and Dumber.
Yep. Van Wilder.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. There's always something to do there.
I'm pretty sure 2001 is Van Wilder too, so we totally dropped the ball on that. Stay tuned for Van Wilder. We'll bring that back up. But what was your favorite bit from this movie?
I like the token black guy. Every time he's on screen, he's just there to say that he's only there because he's the black guy and there's not another black guy in the movie.
You could say that's whack.
Yeah.
I love it. I love how he'll go through like a bit where he's like, oh, I'm actually getting to talk for a minute. And then they just spoil it and he's like, that's whack.
Oh, that is whack.
Very interesting how they handled the two racial stereotypes, though. The token black guy is just up front, like, we're making fun of this. And then the Asian is the complete opposite, where you're like, you're doing everything you're making fun of from the black character. You're just doing a horrible stereotype from an Asian character, including some wild racial slurs.
It's just over the top.
Over the
That's what
top.
they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a spoof movie.
Yeah, you're
You
making
get away with that shit.
Well, I think that's just it. Is you're making fun of other people who did that.
Pigeonholing.
Yeah. So so personally, I didn't find it, like, oh, you should be offended by this, because they're saying you should be offended by this, right? But at the same time, it's weird when you put it next to what you did with the black character. When you put the two together, it's like, okay, those are two wildly different ways of handling this same scenario. Did they say the N-word?
I didn't catch one.
I don't think so.
Okay, I thought when they did the cheerleading dance, I thought the cheerleading dance ended with the N-word, and I didn't go back because I was like, I'm not going to back up.
No, I don't remember.
But it comes. They said something, and I was like, did that really just happen? It must not have. So hopefully it didn't. But in my brain, like, I was like, did you just say? Does that just happen right now?
It might have. I don't remember, because the whole point of that scene is that the white cheerleaders are saying, of course we didn't steal your cheer dances. And then they're flipping their asses around saying, we're black. We're black. Like, no, we didn't steal your moves.
Yeah, I wonder if everyone has the same feelings towards that film as our generation does. But everyone I've brought this film up to has said I love that movie.
I'm guessing all men aged 35 to 42 love the movie.
And Callie loves
Nobody
it.
else. Oh, does she?
Yeah, I said to Callie, I watched another teen movie the other night. She's like, I would have loved that. So, Fun film. I like it. I was interested to see the crew that was involved with that. Well, they're basically coming out of the MTV thing, the MTV scene, because they had done a bunch of stuff for the MTV Movie Awards, including from 2000. They had a bit with Ben Stiller and Tom Cruise, where Ben Stiller is supposed to be Tom Cruise's stunt double.
Yes.
And that's one of the best things that came out of the MTV Movie Awards. It's actually funny.
Yeah.
And so the guy that directed that as well.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. All right. We got one more thing to talk about, but before we do, I'm going to throw out, it's that time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. It's the pivoting Piven.
Ari Gold.
Yes.
The Jeremy Piven hairline scale. We have moved all the way, and I mean we've moved all the way to the year 2001. Fun to note, the film that Jeremy Piven is in from 2001 is Serendipity. You guys remember that film at all?
Yep.
Nope.
So we have a game on the podcast that we haven't played in a long time. It is called Best Known For, and it is where we take IMDb and we try to guess what the 4 films that an actor would be best known for are. And the number 1 film for Jeremy Piven is the movie Serendipity.
With that luscious full head of hair.
A film in which he is not even the lead actor of. So his best known for currently on this are mainly John Cusack films. Serendipity, Grosse Point Blank, Say Anything, and Entourage currently, right now, on IMDb are the best known for.
Entourage is number 4?
I think it's number 3.
How is it not number 1?
That's what I was thinking. I can't believe this. Or anything with Jeremy Piven. Like, even, what's the college one? PCU. Anything with Jeremy Piven.
Or Old School.
Yeah, or didn't he do one, the Dewey Cox type ones? Didn't he do like one of those spoof ones as well?
I don't recall that.
He's in one of those. I don't remember what it's called. Like Walk Hard or something like that.
That's the Dewey Cox
Yeah, it
one.
is Dewey Cox. What is it called? What is it called? It's in here. I know it is. Anyways, though, I just thought it was crazy that is Jeremy Piven's best known for. It's called The Goods. Live hard, sell hard. So I had the hard part right. But Jeremy Piven in the year 2001 is in the movie Serendipity. Jeremy Piven, if you remember, back in 94, 95, 96, Jeremy Piven is bald.
He was a bald man.
I would say that in 2001, Jeremy Piven is no longer bald.
Looking pretty not bald.
Yeah.
That's a full head of hair. I mean, it's receding.
Yeah, a little
bit. Oddly enough, the hairline is receding.
What's the opposite of receding?
Rescinding.
Yeah, it's rescinding.
Preceding?
Jeremy Piven's rescinding hairline.
Yeah, take it back. Take it back. Bring it back.
But I think that's great. That's exactly why we started doing this, because at this point, I don't know how much more it can go forward. It's pretty far forward. So I think we're getting pretty close. We definitely got to put a new mark on the tally. So Jeremy Piven, 2001, hairline scale. So we're just going to wrap this episode up. It's pretty much time to get out of here, but I just wanted to throw one more movie at you guys. We talked about Shrek as being one of the top grossing films. Thoughts on Shrek?
Great movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie. I used to own the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. You seem like the type.
If you look up the highest grossing actors who were previously on SNL, Michael Myers is number 1, Eddie Murphy number 2.
Oh, really?
Because of the Shrek franchise.
Okay. Made a giant star out of Mike Myers. I think Mike Myers was pretty successful, but like this kind of took him over the top, I think, from going from like, his films are becoming extremely successessful to like, this is just top of the game. Eddie Murphy's character in that is great. I think that's probably my favorite part of that film. You just got this annoying character, but it's played very well by Eddie Murphy. Fun things that most people know at this point was that Chris Farley, they had recorded dialogue for him to be Shrek. So this was initially going to be a Chris Farley film.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then when he died, they tried to get his brother to do it.
Yep.
I heard about that.
And it just didn't work. Wasn't that how it worked?
I think he couldn't. He didn't want to do it. It was too soon.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And that would be kind of weird.
Right. That'd
Yeah.
be very weird.
Yeah, I wonder how Mike felt about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Be interesting.
Movie has to be made.
Yeah. Hey, we'll pay all this money. So that's it. Very interesting. There's tons of footage out there for that. And you can see some of the, you can actually view some of the clips with the animatics of the rough drawings in place. But it's interesting that that's how films get made, especially these animated films, because they take so long to make. The thing I thought that was really interesting that is Shrek related, but not the Shrek movie, is that JohnLithgow plays the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Lord Farquaad.
Which might be the best thing. Making fun of Disney is what this whole thing was doing. And why it was so successful, because it was this counterculture type of attitude to
right. And it was just a little edgy. Just a little on edge. They come up
subversive. Yeah.
They come up to the castle, and Shrek, they talk about how big the castle is, and Shrek says, "You think he's compensating for something?" I'm like, can't say that in a kids movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing I found very interesting about this was I was watching some footage of JohnLithgow talking about Shrek, and he was very snarky about a previous animated film that he was supposed to be the voice of. And so JohnLithgow recorded the entire film Hercules. He was the actor for Hades.
Oh.
And he spent a whole year recording this entire movie, all the voices for it. And then they said, you know what, we're going to go a different direction, and swapped out James Wood for JohnLithgow.
I never heard that before.
It was crazy. I was watching this interview with him, and he was very, like, you could tell he was really snarky about it.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck this, dude. I spent an entire year of my life.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that reminded me of was that we just did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
The movie Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, they swapped out Aragorn and brought in, what's his name? Viggo Mortensen.
Yes.
The initial actor they had for that film, for that role, was the guy that played Dorian Gray in League of the Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Really?
They started
Neat.
filming, were filming it, and then realized he's too young.
Okay.
And so he got swapped out. And so just before filming League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he had just been removed from this gigantic film. Yeah.
It would have changed his life.
but he was just too young.
Huh.
So they hot swapped in the middle of, they had already started. So they had to push back when they could actually have Viggo's scenes started for recording.
Mm-hmm.
They had to just keep shooting as much as they possibly could until they got okay, we absolutely need him on set now. But it's weird and stuff like that happens. Same thing with Back to the Future. The same thing happened in that film too, where they just got started and you know what, this isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy. JohnLithgow, and he did a great job in this. But isn't it interesting though that Shrek is about kind of anti-Disney, and he was so pissed off at Disney because for an entire year he recorded the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what, we're animating this and it just isn't working. And it turned out pretty well though, because James Wood did a good job in that film as well. So
I find it hard to believe that it takes an entire year to read lines from a script.
Right, it's only a 90-minute movie. It should take about 90 minutes.
Yeah. So you're able to come in for the day, knock it out, and off you go.
All right, there's a process, guys, that has to happen, and it involves recording some lines, animating some of it. It's like an overlapping process. Like you record it, then animate to the recording, then have them come back in and kind of re-record. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys.
Hey, it's not Robin Williams in Aladdin.
In Aladdin, it's not Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire, where he just goes off script, changes it completely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of 2001. Final thoughts on 2001 movies that we went through.
I am struggling to think what Hades would be like with JohnLithgow because James Woods
nails
did
it.
such a phenomenal job in that role.
I watched some of the clips, and I will agree that Lithgow was not right for that role. And I love Lithgow, but it wasn't right. I watched some of it, and I was like, okay, you made the right decision. Yeah, and I love Lithgow. I think he's fantastic at everything he does.
But you think they'd figure that out in 350 days.
Yeah.
According to him. Now, again, this is him saying, and he's scorn, you know. So, but he said it was a whole year of my life just wasted. And not necessarily. You got paid.
Yeah.
But then you got to remember too that then he probably didn't get the cut on the back end.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the credit.
Don't get the accolades.
Yep. Yeah. All right. That's it for 2001 movies. If you've got one that you think we missed, shout it out to us. We always do.
Oh, we missed a lot.
Well, there's tons of movies from 2001, but I think this is the best way to do it. Is we just kind of pick a handful of them and we go through them. That leaves the door open for some what the fuck happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've got some from 2001 that I would love to do. So, Gabe, final thoughts.
I'll never forget.
Thanks. And with that, we're done. You know, John Lithgow is fantastic at everything, but I think he played it just a little too slow. You know, like James Wood is just a little bit over the top.
Yeah, he's real theatrical about it.
Yeah,
like a radio DJ or something.
Yeah, but I think if you like think about it, about that process then and how you would be then as an actor, that's probably why Lithgow is so good in Shrek. Is because he went through that process of getting beat out, and it's like, well, I'm gonna bring it. You know, I'm gonna actually put a little more emphasis on this, because I would say that watching some of those clips, just the couple that I watched, I was like, yeah, it's a little sleepy.
Yeah, but I mean, if you get through an entire year doing it, I'm going to blame that on the direction. If you don't like the way he's doing something,
John
tell
Lithgow
him
could do it differently.
He can fucking change it up.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like you don't do dailies and stuff. Like I'm sure they do it with the animation as well. The producers are checking in on this on a regular basis. You know, it didn't take them a year to bring in Viggo Mortensen. You know, and they're like, get this Dorian Gray guy out of here. It's time to move on. Or same thing with Back to the Future. They shot scenes of that, and it was quite a bit. But you know, that decision, you got to figure, you got to make it a little bit quicker. So yeah.
I guess the truth can be told. Would you like a scoop?
Yes.
I was the voice of the villain, the Lord of the Underworld, in Hercules. Disney hired me. I did the entire voice, and after working on it for over a year, they decided, nope, wrong voice, and replaced me with Jimmy Woods.
Isn't this pleasant? I was just supposed to come along as an observer. Right now, what I'm observing is very odd.
I throw everything I've got at him, and it doesn't even...
What?
I throw everything I've got at him, and it doesn't even...
What?